What's good, people? We got a late night Ask FP. Without further ado, I gotta jump into these questions right quick. Let's go. Vaughn Resper says, who would you rather have in their prime on your team, Shaq or Hakeem Olajuwon? This is somewhat difficult, but I'm gonna say Hakeem Olajuwon. I just feel like, just the whole leadership standpoint, effort, consistent effort. Shaq is amazing and very much taken for granted, but Hakeem Olajuwon, in my opinion, is second only to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in regards to all-time centers. So I would take him. Jalen Murray says, who do you think might win the NBA MVP award? It's hard to say. It's a pretty, you got a battle going on right now. You look at Steph Curry, you look at James Harden. Both of those guys, I'd say, are right there at the top for the NBA MVP award. If I had to guess right now, I'd say James Harden. Just, that would be my pick right now. Next up, we got Mr. Torve Sundland says, do you think that the mode from NBA 2K12 where you could use the classic teams with the old style presentation will return? I don't know. I liked it a lot. I even suggested, I think in last week's Ask FP, that they do something like with the ABA and, bring the ABA in there and that whole thing. But I don't know, man. Just a lot of times people are not into retro that much. So, it is what it is. Conrad Cushman says, what do you think will happen with the Buffalo Bills next season with quarterback and head coach situations? Have a great day. You have a great day, too. So we know they already hired Rex Ryan, right? Somebody else asked something about Rex Ryan later. Quarterback situation, I think they're going to roll with E.J. Manuel. Honestly, I do. I think they're going to give him another opportunity. You got a new offensive coordinator coming in there, see what happens. So that's what I think is going to happen. It's going to be those two guys. Sports Topic says, do you think that the Milwaukee Bucks will finish over 500? I do. I do think that they play defense, man. They defend. And that right there is the beginning. They also have some offensive talent as well. So it's a shame what happened to Jabari Parker, but I do think they make it. They finish the season over 500, and I also think they make the playoffs as like a 7 or 8 seed. A lot of people wouldn't have thought that, especially after Parker got hurt. Sports Topic also says, what's your pick in the college football championship game? Well, Ohio State or Oregon. Man, something's just telling me Ohio State. Aha, I know. The question came in. That's the thing about with the Ask FP. You ask a question if, like, the result or whatever's going to come out before the show actually runs, then, it's kind of one of them things. But I won't lie. I had the semifinal games wrong. But I did pick Ohio State to win in the finals, so it is what it is. If Vaughn Resper says, if Orlando had kept Chris Webber, from the 93 draft, Chris Webber was also in my newest Legends roster video, so check that out. It says, do you think him and Shaq would have won a ring? I don't think so. I don't think their games complemented each other well at all. I think that could have been an issue. I do believe Shaq and Penny were going to win a ring if Shaq hadn't left, but I don't think that would have worked out with him and Weber. Just don't think their games complement each other. See, Hunter says, will you be making Artis Gilmore and Dan Issel on the Ultimate Legends roster? Well, Hunter, I've already made both of those guys. Those guys were amongst my very early updates. So if you just got onto the series recently, you probably missed those. But yes, both of those legends are in. So yeah, you'll be happy to see that once I actually drop it, which is going to be close to the All-Star break. My main man, the great Patriot, says, if you were GM of the Bears for one day, what would be your second move? First move would obviously be to get rid of Cutler. Yeah, I know. I'm GM of the Bears, which is now Ryan Pace. I got to hire a head coach. I got to get a head coach who has a strong personality. And I don't mean just a rah-rah yelling guy, but a guy who commands respect. That's what I'm talking about. C, the great Patriot says, if you had to pick a point guard for your team, who you taking, Nash, Kidd, or Penny Hardaway in their prime? Obviously, I'm taking Penny Hardaway. Without a doubt, it ain't even a question. I'm not even hesitating. Penny is almost kind of like Grant Hill to me, because it's really a shame injuries robbed us of seeing how great. People don't realize how good Penny was, man. Penny, I'm telling you, Penny would have been in the same conversation with LeBron, Kobe, everybody if he hadn't got hurt. See, the Great Patriot also says, last question for this week, and then he's done. In your opinion, what is wrong with the dunk contest in the NBA? This is a really good question. What's wrong with the dunk contest is you don't have enough involvement from stars. Back in the day, Mike, Dominique, stars of the actual league were in it. Now it's like the third of, one of the bench guys is in it. The bench guy with hops basically is in it. And people just don't care because you don't have the star power. Jalen Murray says, who do you think might win the NBA Sixth Man of the Year award? I think it's going to be Maurice Spates unless something drastically changes in the second half of the season. But he's been playing very well for Golden State off the bench. One of the main reasons why they have the best record in the NBA. So I would say Maurice Spates looks like the man. Jalen Murray also says, do you think the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl? If not, who do you think is? I do not think the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl. I do think that the Seattle Seahawks will repeat. Defensively, they look like some straight dogs out there. I mean, it's nasty. We'll see what happens in the NFC title game against the Packers, but I don't envision a less than 100% Aaron Rodgers being able to have much success against Seattle. Next up, Tyler says, do you think they will bring back the NCAA basketball series? I'm assuming you're talking about the EA Sports one. I think it's possible. Definitely possible once the whole licensing thing gets wiped out or cleared out totally. I think it's possible. I want to see a college basketball game, college football game. I want to see them both. So I hope that NCAA basketball, I hope I say college football, college basketball. Yeah. I hope it comes back. Let's see. Jalen Cook says, in general, which game is better, NBA Live 15 or NBA 2K15? Are you really serious, Jalen? Is this a serious question? I don't know. NBA 2K is a much better game than NBA Live. Even though Live has very much improved from last year's version, but 2K is still a better game. Pretty much in every way, in my personal opinion. I don't really see anything that makes me say, oh, yeah, you know what, I would prefer that. No. See, Matt Price says, would the NWO, not NWA, that's a whole different thing. Would the NWO have worked if Hogan was replaced by anybody else? I don't think so, because Hogan turning heel after being face for so long is what made the NWO, gave them their presence. It was like, now, look, the greatest babyface ever is now the lead heel. It's nasty. So, yeah. No, I don't think so. I think they needed Hogan. Jalen Cook says, can you do a Super Bowl prediction for Madden 15? Well, in Madden 15. Well, I am going to do that, Jalen. So, I don't think I'm going to do like a simulation, so to speak, and see what happens. I used to do those, kind of like that with the feedback, or lack thereof. But I'll do one where I just basically give my prediction. Shamar Spencer says, do you think there will ever be a WNBA game in the future? I don't. At the most I think you would get for that is either a downloadable game that, not a full like AAA release, or I think you might see like some sort of add-on with NBA 2K or even NBA Live where they add that in. The first company that does it is going to break some ground, so we'll see what happens. Jalen Cook says, if you worked at 2K, what ideas would you suggest to improve the WWE, NBA, and NHL series? Well, with WWE, my first thing would be is to make the whole wrestling in-ring, the fighting aspect, make it like an open world experience. I think you need to be able to go anywhere, interact with anything, all of that. As far as with the NBA series, improving the service would be the biggest thing. I mean, because there's a lot of people who were very displeased with that part. So with NHL, man, just get it back to consoles. That would be my thing. Matt Price says, can you pinpoint the reason for the decline in Peyton Manning, especially the second half of the year? I think it's injury and age, to be honest. I mean, he's had some lower body issues. He's trying to grit through it, but it's been tough. And you got to remember, he's old, so this is to be expected. Matt Price also says, aren't the Bills just like the Jets for Rex Ryan, talented defense without a quarterback? Well, I actually don't. I still believe that EJ Manuel can be a decent quarterback. So I guess I don't agree with the premise of this statement, so I can't really answer it so much. But I mean, definitely a strong defense, but I like the quarterback situation a little bit better in Buffalo. Anthony Valorio says, after another disappointing playoff run, do you think Peyton Manning should retire or stay to prove he's not washed up? Well, I think he should retire, especially if next year has the potential of looking like this one did from an injury standpoint. I don't want to see him stay out there and get seriously hurt or just go through. I don't want to see him do that. You got the one Super Bowl, I'd say bounce. Valorio also says he's a Panthers fan. He watched Kelvin Benjamin all year, though he had a great year according to ESPN. He's not top 5 for Rookie of the Year. Why? I don't know why. I mean, top 5, I could see that. I don't think he deserves a win, but I could certainly understand, the argument for him being top 5. That makes sense. I couldn't even tell you why he's not. I mean, he wasn't exactly a part of a prolific pass offense, so that hurts him from a statistical standpoint. So, Let's see. Zachary says, who would you like to see on the cover of NBA and WWE 2K16? He wants to see Lillard or DeRozan and Bryan or Rollins. I think that Anthony Davis should be on the cover of 2K, NBA 2K, and WWE 2K should probably be Roman Reigns. It just probably should be. Matt Price says, wow, the Atlanta Hawks, how far do you see them going in the playoffs? They're dangerous because I totally believe in Mike Budenholzer. I think he is the real deal. Coming from the San Antonio Spurs, he's the real deal. And I think that from a coaching standpoint, they have what they need. They have unselfish players. They have some nice skill guys in position. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I can see them going all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, to be honest. So, and once you get there, who knows? Matt Price says, at the 2K meetup, what did they say about these ugly, slim body types, and why do you think the servers are still bad? Well, servers being still bad, I don't know. I couldn't even tell you. But in terms of the thin body types, I don't know. Just 2K needs some work done just overall on body types, but that little skinny baby boy body one is really problematic. Long says, who will win the Super Bowl? I answered that earlier. It says Seattle Seahawks. That's my pick. I'm gonna stick to it. There's no reason for me to change. I really don't see Green Bay having a chance to beat Seattle, and then I think Seattle can take down either Indianapolis or New England. So that's that. All right, the next question comes from Sports Topic. He says, what are your thoughts on the trade involving Jeff Green to the Grizzlies, Quincy Pondexter to the Pelicans, and Tayshaun Prince to the Celtics? Kind of a raw deal for Tayshaun. Obviously, veterans like to play in places where they feel like they have an opportunity to win a championship. Had that in Memphis. Now he's going to Boston, where that's not the case. Jeff Green to Memphis is a good deal. I don't know if it makes them quite as athletic as they need to be on the perimeter, but it's another scorer, a guy who can score from the outside, so it definitely helps the team. See, Rob says, any thoughts on where Max Scherzer and James Shields will sign with spring training coming up? I never thought it would get this late for both of these guys. I really didn't. I think some way, shape, or form, Scherzer ends up back in Detroit. I just don't know why I feel that way. I just feel like that's going to happen. With James Shields, I don't know. A lot of people seem like they're a little gun shy on him because he's a little bit older. He just doesn't feel like a number one starter. Not at all to me. So we'll see. Brandon Cage says, what's your opinion of Rex Ryan becoming the Buffalo Bills head coach? We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. I think it's a good move, personally. I do. I really wanted Rex Ryan in Chicago as a defensive coordinator, but obviously if you guys get the head coaching vacancy or offer, he's going to take that. So it is what it is. Brandon Cage says, what do you think about the Dez Bryant catch that was overturned? Do you agree with the rule or should it be changed? I mean, according to the rule, it was the right call, but I think the rule is ridiculous. If the ball doesn't hit the ground, that's when I believe it should be an incomplete pass. They need to change that rule. Absolutely, they need to change it. Jeffrey Hewitt says, will a version of Jackie Moon be in the Ultimate Legends roster? Incomplete without him, in my opinion. He hashtags Let's Get Tropical. If I made like a fictional draft class or roster or something like that, I would definitely strongly consider putting in Jackie Moon. But in something that's supposed to be real NBA, I don't put him in there. Come on, Jaffrey. The Spearman says, do you think Peyton Manning will come back next season? Winning games isn't the problem, but winning the playoffs are. You know what? At this point, I don't think I'm leaning towards he's not going to come back. And you're right. His issue, he's the greatest regular season quarterback in the league. But in the postseason, things just have not worked out. So I don't know why or what that is, but it's not worked out. D. Spearman also says, do you believe that Allen Iverson can play well in the NBA? 15 points per game, maybe 6 assists. If so, what teams do you think that could use his help? I don't think Allen Iverson's in position to help anybody right now. I don't. Last we saw him, he didn't look anywhere close to shape, and I think it would be crazy right now. It would be a publicity stunt to bring him in someplace. So, D. Spearman also says, I see a lot of similarities in T-Mac and Melo. Says unless Phil Jackson has a master plan in their prime, T-Mac or Melo. Well, in the prime, I'd probably take T-Mac, but it's very close. It's, I don't know. But I do see some similarities. I see what you're saying, offensive players who cannot actually lead their team. So, yeah, that's rough. See, Jalen Cook says, do you think that Kevin Garnett should retire at the end of the season after what happened in the Rockets game? I'm going to tell you something about Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett is one of them dudes. You ever see a guy, somebody almost gets into a fight, right? And then everybody breaks it up. And as soon as that guy knows that he and the guy who's about to fight can't even get close to each other anymore, and then he starts acting like crazy, like he's a dog unchained. To me, that's what Kevin Garnett did with Dwight Howard. I mean, it's like, dude, please. He just like, I can't be held back. I'm so mad. Whatever, dude. Whatever. See, what's this say? I got it shrunk down low, and so it's like Tyra. I don't ask me why I'm reading it so small. I don't know. Since he's a big fan, you kept saying Dwight Howard is still the best center, but has a guy like Cousins not passed him by? I don't think he's passed him by. He's definitely closed the gap, but I just think Dwight Howard's the best center in the league right now. He still dominates games, so that's him. And let's see. He also says, do you think that KG getting ejected versus Houston was fair? Should Howard have been ejected as well? And why does KG keep acting up? I think that Kevin Garnett is one of those guys who's not aging well. You know, he was very athletic early in his career. He was able to do different types of things in terms of movement. He can't do those things now, but he's still just as competitive as he was. But I just think he's turned into an absolute jerk, man. It's not cool. Trevor Allen says, after last night's Raw, does Seth Rollins deserve the main event push he's been receiving? I do. I still think Seth is one of those awesome in-ring performers. I would like to see him kind of like gradually move away from, this whole thing he's doing with the authority thing, and just kind of move into something a little bit more where he makes him an individual. Trevor Allen also says, what do you think of the Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt match at WrestleMania 31? I don't like that. I don't. First of all, it's time. I want to see Bray showing up doing his whole thing again when he's trying to spook somebody, a big name star. I'm tired of that. And it just feels like that's the route they would go. Trevor Allen says, thoughts on the possibility of John Fox becoming the new head coach of the Chicago Bears? I like it. I like it a lot. If you're going to hire an experienced head coach, then you might as well hire a guy who's had a great track record recently. And that's what John Fox has had. He's going to 3 Super Bowls, I believe it is. And he hasn't won one, but he's been there, which is more than the Bears can say for most of their coaches. So Brandon Cage says, what are your thoughts on the Macho Man finally going into the WWE Hall of Fame? I'm ecstatic about it. It's the right thing. You can't have a WWE Hall of Fame and not have Randy Savage in it, in my personal opinion. I mean, come on. I mean, what really you can't have one and not have him in it. It's just nuts. So I'm definitely happy that he's in. I know it's some weird stuff with Hulk Hogan inducting him, but hopefully everything goes over smoothly. Last but not least, King Hype says, who do you think is the next best big star to be traded in the NBA and the next impact trade? Well, I think it's all in the same thing. I think the next big trade, next impact trade is trying to find somebody to take Cole Hamels in Philly. I think he's the guy that gets moved. It's been it's a lot of talk about moving him, and at some point you kind of figure it's gonna happen. So he's the one for me, and that is it for me. Y'all please subscribe, follow, and again, I apologize for my tardiness on Tuesday. Peace.